What's up? I'm George. I'm a photographer and videographer in Leeds. On this channel, I'm showing my behind the scenes process, my creative journey, and I want to share with you a little bit more about my life philosophy in general and how I've learned different things that have definitely helped me in terms of being a creative freelancer and things I think might be worth sharing with you as well. Some of it comes from more personal experience, some of it I've read different places, some I've found out from other freelancers and people in different industries, and I think there's a lot of life lessons that, I don't know, I've learned these things. I'm not too sure if they're worth sharing. You might know them already. You might just be like, yeah man, that's a given. But I mean, who knows? You might not know. So I'm here to pass it on, and hopefully it helps you a little bit as well. The thing I want to talk about today is something that popped up in conversation when I was catching up with a friend of mine in Manchester last week. She and I were talking about our current work situations and what we might want to do next, what we see ourselves doing in the future, and when it's the right time to seek a change, maybe go into further education, things like that. And a quote popped into my mind that I heard about 3 years ago on YouTube from Neistat, of all people, but obviously. And it was something that he referred to as the Tarzan Method. At the time, I actually forgot it was called the Tarzan Method. I had to do a bit of research when I got home. But the Tarzan Method is essentially understanding that life doesn't have a linear path. There isn't a straight line from your point A to your point B where your goal might take you. And instead, you have to treat each stage of your life almost like a vine, as if you're Tarzan swinging on a vine, and to let go of that stage and that vine, you have to grab onto the next one, let go, and swing on to the next. And that's how you get through life. So rather than going from A to B linear, you sort of swing and swing and swing and swing, which makes an awful lot of sense. And I remember when I first heard that, I think I must have been halfway through uni or something, and it definitely struck me. And there were certain opportunities that popped up and certain things that would happen, certain changes that would take place, and that would pop into my brain, and I would think, well, do I grab the next vine? Do you? Do you let go of what you're doing at the moment? Do you move on to the next thing? And different moments you do and you don't. And whether you regret not doing things or doing certain things, depends on the person. Over the past couple of years, I never really thought of it as the Tarzan Method anymore, as something else has started to pop into my head, as I've started to read a bit more, which has been great, and I've started just to view each new thing you do, whether it's like a new job in a week, or if you've decided, to move cities or something like that, it's rather turning the page. And everyone's life is a story. If you look back at biopics, read any biography, talk to anyone who's in their 70s, 80s, you realise that life is overall like an arc. It's like a character arc. It's really odd. That might just be because I did script writing at uni, but I mean, it does pop up. You do think like, well, when was the thing that, set you up and made you go? What you'd refer to in script writing as the inciting incident, what was that for that person? Because for the most part, people are almost on autopilot until they realise what it is they want to do, or they realise they're not happy with their current autopilot situation. A pivotal moment for me last year, which the Tarzan Method popped into my head, and it was like front and centre, like, what are you going to do? I had been working on a TV show for Sky Arts, which was like great to work on, great people to work with, learned a lot on it, but I'd been doing it since like 2016 till 2019, whenever they were shooting, which was honestly really, really good. But having studied TV at uni and then getting a job in TV, it felt very much like, okay, well, this is what you're doing. You're gonna do this for a while, or potentially forever. And it was during this shoot last year that the Tarzan Method popped into my head, and I sort of felt like I'm at the end of the vine here. And it sort of felt like, in terms of turning the page, it was like, I've just reached the last word on this page, and I really want to turn the page because I'm bored of it. I'm bored of looking at this page right now. I've read it over and over. So can we, move the F on? It was tricky for me personally because I'd worked for about 5 years through uni to get that sort of job, and then went into it, didn't like it at first, sort of took a break for a bit, then went back. And after going back, it just solidified the idea that, okay, this like ideal job for someone who studied what I studied and had been interested in what I've been interested in wasn't the ideal job for me. And I had to just sort of accept that let's let go of that vine. Let's turn that page. Let's move on. At the same time as this decision popping into my head, I'd been working on personal client projects with a number of personal trainers and people like that. And before going down to this particular shoot where this idea popped into my head, I had been editing a client project on the train. I was on the train for a few hours, so I was editing this client project, got down, did this shoot, and then on the way back up, I was editing a client project. And I just remember the joy I felt being sat on a train on my laptop that is slow and editing this project, putting music on, like deciding on the cuts, having shot the whole thing, set up the whole deal myself. That was bringing me like tremendous amounts of satisfaction, and I felt like I was learning a lot. But the working in TV thing, I didn't feel like I was learning anything, and it felt like I was working any other job. Between my jobs, I had a stint working in a cinema for nearly a year and working on a TV set after doing my own freelancing projects. Working on a TV set felt like I was working in a cinema. And I just remember thinking, well, okay, it's a bit more glamorous, but at the same time, not for me. It's as good for someone else. I just thought I might as well remove myself from this industry rather than taking up a place that could be better suited to someone else with more enthusiasm for that particular nature of job. I think this method of thinking with the Tarzan method, or turning the page, applies to every aspect of your life. It applies to where you live, it applies to who you're with, it applies to what job you're doing. I think it is sometimes wise to take stock and assess, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now? And when you say what you're supposed to be doing right now, there is no one else telling you what you're supposed to be doing. It's about, like, deep down, what do you think you should be doing? Like, is this currently on track to what you want? And if you don't know what you want, if you can't visualize it, if you don't have a, long-term goal or a long-term direction, just take some time to really take stock of what you're passionate about, what you care about, what you don't care about. That's one thing, is do not pay attention to what you don't care about. There's actually a quote that I wanted to share at some point, so I'm just gonna do it now. Something that I heard years ago, just down the deep depths of YouTube, and found a clip. I think it was a commencement speech that Spielberg did, and he was talking about listening to your intuition and about how your intuition whispers rather than shouts. So when you're trying to think what you want to do, it's never going to be a loud thought in the center of your head. It's never going to be right there going, well, we're going to do this, I want to do this. It's not like that. Actually, it's this quiet voice that just says, like, we should do that. That's one thing that I recommend that we can all do, is take a little bit more time to listen quietly to what your intuition's saying. I often refer to it as like gut instinct. When people talk about when it comes like from the chest and it's like that actual want, there's actually like a physical sensation that alerts you to either this is what we should be doing, or you're doing something that goes, this isn't really what we should be doing. People say they don't have a good feeling about something. It often comes from that. I've tried to, at every opportunity, listen closer to the quieter voice that tells me what I really want to do, rather than the louder voice in my head, which might be influenced by other people's opinions, by societal norms or examples you've seen in the past. Listen to what's actually inside, which this sounds cheesy as hell, oh my god, but listen to what's actually inside, and often you'll find the most honest, accurate goal that you have for yourself. Everyone's got like a want. If you don't think you have a want, if you don't think you have an interest yet, just try listen a bit closer and you might find something. I want to thank you very, very much for watching. If you've watched this all the way to the end, I really, really like you and you're awesome. And if you think this is useful, if you found this useful and you want to share it with someone else, I'd really appreciate that. That'd be amazing. Make sure to leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, feel free to subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you wanna. And leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And I'll be doing another video on Thursday this week. So, I'll see you then. Take care. Smoke a dude, watch cartoons.